How do you push your art to the next level?
Yeah, I think every time you do something, you have to attempt something new. And I try to do that in every single video. If I don't feel like I'm on the brink of failure every time, I'm doing something wrong. It's too I get bored if I do something repetitive, so I try to I just find a new way to do it. I think that's probably why it takes so long for me to get out videos, is because there's not really a cookie cutter thing. For me, it's all about refining that art and pushing it even further.
I think you had said, and this was maybe when you were at the Sony camp.
Yeah.
I think this was you who said that if you're not excited by what you're making, that your audience won't either, and that don't try to pander to the audience. Maybe.
I mean, it sounds like something I said. Was that on my video or was it someone else's?
No, we watched several, and by the way, it looked really cool to go to that
oh
Sony
my
camp.
God, it was
amazing.
So much fun. Yeah, Sony put on such a hit show for everybody. I mean, it was so great, especially just being around all the other content creators and feeling that camaraderie of hey, we're all in the mix. That was probably one of the healthiest things that a content creator can do for their psyche, is being around other content creators who are going through the same stuff, and you really learn that we're all on the same side. There's no competition of who's doing better than who. It's we're on the same team. That was super helpful. But going back to your question, I do genuinely feel that if I'm not invested, if I'm not excited by what I'm making, how am I supposed to get someone else excited about it? I've literally stopped episodes in the middle of the episode, and I'm I don't want to do this. And I stop. I'm I'm going to stop throwing good money after bad because I'm no longer excited about this. It's me selling a product, or it's me doing something for views. I was just working on an iPhone 11 video. I had strapped it to a drone, and I was going to fly it and show the world what iPhone 11's new processor does for video in the dynamic range, and this is what a glimpse of next year's drones will look like. And about halfway through, I was I don't even like Apple. Why would I try to prop up iPhone 11 sales at all? Why? Because the video is going to do well? I'm out. So I stopped. That video will never see the light of day.
Well, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, seeing that Sony camp, it was great to kind of live vicariously there. And what's interesting is, maybe this has just been my experience, but with acting, I think there's way more competition. I've seen in the YouTube space that people seem pretty satisfied with where they're at in terms of, there's not as much, maybe it's all below the surface, but when you meet people, it's not that weird actor sort of competition.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was used to, having that kind of edge on your shoulder with the actor thing, because in the acting world, if one person's success meant everyone else's failure. They were getting cast repeatedly, so that role is not available for you. But in the YouTube space, that has nothing to do with it at all. If somebody's video does well, it actually make your channel more successful, because it'll pave the way for you to say, oh, that's working, that's something I can do, or maybe I'll try that. And so it's different. It's a totally different dynamic for sure. When I first came into the YouTube space, I felt more camaraderie, especially when I did a good video. I was expecting people to be upset or jealous, but it was the opposite. They reached out to me. They were genuinely happy for my success. They were like, wow, you really you knocked it out of the park, or wow, another banger, or whatever it was. And they would have some questions or whatever, but genuinely happy for my success, and that was very refreshing.
What do you think that is? I've seen the same, on a smaller scale, and I've noticed that there doesn't seem to be that edge, that jealousy.
I think it's inherent of putting up bodies of work and putting yourself out there and putting your name on it, and then sending it up to the gods, and whether it's going to be rejected, whether you're going to be torn apart. I think it takes a certain humility to do that. And so I feel like we're all in this together is the kind of the mentality of like, wow, you put up a body of work, like you did it. Wow. Good for you. And if it's a success, then it's like, awesome. We know how hard it is. We know how difficult it is to have a video go viral. Like, man, you deserve it. It's not the same as like the actor thing, because there's no, that competition is just not really there. One person's success does not mean everyone else's failure or lack of success. It just means their success.
When you were at the Sony camp, did you feel validated? Like, wow, I'm here because of my work. I'm here because I'm really like painstakingly looking at what I'm doing and making sure that it fits my standards?
It was an interesting dynamic because it was the first time that I had been anywhere where I knew all the people there, but I hadn't met them, right? So I knew everyone's name, I knew where they were from, I knew what their shtick was, I knew what cameras they use, I knew personal things about them, and then being like face to face, I'm like, I'm Josh, by the way. That was a weird dynamic, but it taught me that as the creator, it's kind of a one-way relationship that you're crafting with the audience. So like they're getting to know you. The more they see you on screen, the more they get to know you, the more they fall in love with you, the more whatever it is, right? But yet you don't know anything about them. And so it's definitely something to be mindful of. And so I was very aware of that at the Sony event, where I was like, wow, I feel like I know all these people, but if they don't watch my channel, they have no idea who I am, So it was weird.